Tonight, Estevan Emergency, a train derailment shakes the community to its core. And let the fun, food, and entertainment begin. It's exhibition time. Plus, Prince Albert like you've never seen it before.
This is the CTV News with Rob McDonald and Trish Jeveldayoff.
Good evening. Trish is away this week. It's a devastating blow to the city of Estevan.
The heart of the community is still shut down tonight as crews clean up after a train derailment. 6 cars containing a deadly chemical jumped the tracks, forcing the evacuation of homes and businesses. We begin with CTV's James Young.
Crews are feverishly working to clean up this area in the center of Estevan. 6 cars jumped the tracks Sunday afternoon, several of them carrying a deadly chemical, anhydrous ammonia. They were part of a slow-moving train backing up onto the main line. 3 of the 6 cars landed on their sides. 1 sprang a leak.
Informed emergency officials and environmental officials immediately, and they addressed it. They said there was no need for any further concern. But, you know, clearly that's why we're going very cautiously.
It's a virtual ghost town within a 3-block radius of the accident. The leak forced the evacuation of homes and businesses within the zone. Approximately 150 people have to find another place to stay while crews clean up. More than a day after the accident, the area is still off limits. Investigators say it's still too early to determine what caused the accident, but this does bring up memories of a much more deadly incident just down the line. 2.5 years ago, a CPR train carrying anhydrous ammonia left the tracks and a path of destruction in Minot, North Dakota. The toxic fumes killed 1 person and sent several others to hospital.
It would be premature to bridge the two together. Each incident has its own unique circumstances.
Sunday's accident sent a few shivers through the city's mayor.
Obviously a bit of alarm, but certainly no panic from anyone in the community.
Mayor John Empey credits the emergency plan for keeping order.
I received a phone call from CP, and that first one is empty.
It went into action just 5 minutes after the crash. The command center in the city's fire hall helped organize the city, CPR, and volunteers.
We feel that we've got a good plan in place, and again, we see that it's pulled together very well.
City and CPR officials will remain in emergency mode until at least Tuesday, when they hope people will be allowed back in. James Young, CTV News, Estevan.
And we'll have more on the story from Estevan later in the hour. Still ahead, the latest bug to take over your computer. And in sports, a look at the summer games underway in Weyburn.
Some candidates who ran in the Métis Nation Saskatchewan election in May are appealing the election process. A commission made up of 3 senators will hear 14 appeals in Prince Albert during the next few days. The appeal process is closed to the public, but the appeal is a result of allegations of voter irregularities, missing ballot boxes, and a counting mix-up, which first saw Robert Doucette declared president and then Dwayne Roth. May Henderson, who didn't want to be shown on camera, was the first to be heard this morning. She claims to be suffering from a huge disadvantage.
And I can't afford a lawyer. I mean, this election cost me a lot of money. I took time off from work to run in the election, and then had to pay to run in the election, had to pay to be heard in front of the appeal system. For what?
I'm very, very upset at people who run to the media and make all these wild allegations about dead people voting, about ballot boxes being missing, about people in jail voting. She had her day in court and she had to prove it. Where's her proof? She came to court with just wild allegations and she had no proof.
The EGAD's Youth Center in Saskatoon has received a big boost from the community. The van being used by the Youth Drop-In Center was in dire need of replacement. So a local entrepreneur stepped in to help, and there's a reason why. Mark Rogstad has the story.
Ready to roll and ready to try and help those caught up in life on the street. EGADS has run an outreach van for 12 years. This is the Youth Center's 3rd version. Its predecessor grew unsafe and too expensive to repair.
This street outreach van allows us, it's out on the street every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday doing our night street workout in the van where we're going and providing nutrition, printed information, various things to youth at risk and youth and individuals in the sex trade.
It has everything that community workers need in one space to feed people, give them something hot to drink, and to store other essentials sex trade workers may need on a temporary basis, including diapers to care for children. Meikle says women end up in the trade sometimes to support habits, but sometimes because they have no other way to make money. He says the van helps break the ice.
If we didn't have this van, we couldn't get out there and connect with these kids. We couldn't make that initial contact. You know, what we're trying to do is help these kids exit that lifestyle.
Lou Paquette knows firsthand. At age 12, he started living on the streets of Montreal.
The priest helped me get out of it, and I got in contact with my father. He brought me back to Alberta, and from there on I didn't look back, and I've been trying to help kids ever since.
Paquette made the new van possible with a $5,000 contribution. The United Way put in nearly $13,000. Other businesses continued to lend a hand as well. Paquette says the van is a worthwhile program despite the critics who've claimed it makes a bad situation worse.
We all have to work together, whether they're native or white people or whatever. We all got to work together. They're all children, they're all people, and they all need help. And sooner or later, we're all going to need help ourselves.
Both men say it's not good to see kids on the street, but something, however small, has to be done. Mark Rogstad, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon is the cheapest place in Canada to park. That's according to the Collier's annual North American parking rate survey. It says on average a driver pays about $95 a month to park in Saskatoon. And the national average for monthly unreserved parking is $166.50. Toronto costs the most at $268 a month, closely followed by Calgary, Montreal, Ottawa, and Edmonton. The survey also shows 60% of cities describe the supply of parking space as fair.
Well, in less than 24 hours, the 117th version of the Saskatoon exhibition will open to the public. About 150,000 people will pass through the gates over the next 6 days. Today, hundreds of people were busy getting everything in place for tomorrow's big opening. Ian Roach has a preview of this year's exhibition.
Hundreds of carnies are busy getting the midway set up. They have until Tuesday afternoon to get 48 rides up and running. Right now, it may not look like much, but this ride is expected to be a popular one this year.
We brought a brand new Euro slide, which is a 185-foot, 6-lane monster slide, absolutely huge.
But if a huge slide is not your cup of tea, don't worry. There'll be plenty of other rides to choose from.
The twin flip is back again this year, avalanche, inverter, 1001 Nights. We've got a lot of big ones.
And what about food? It may not be the healthiest, but you can throw your diet away for exhibition week. Dozens of stands are ready to serve up the usual fair fare.
We've got all kinds of fair food. It's unique to the city when it comes here. The spud nuts are back in a big way. You got to come and enjoy the fair food.
And when you come to the X, remember, parking is at a premium, but there are options.
The best alternative is the express buses. They come from all the major malls in Saskatoon. It's direct to the exhibition here, and I highly recommend people using it. It's absolutely free.
And speaking of free, if you hurry, you could try your hand as a carny and take in the X on the side at no charge.
We usually use probably 200 local people every year to help set up and run the show once we're open.
Right now, the grandstand is silent, but later this week, it'll be hopping. It's just one of the sites around the grounds that will have entertainment.
We've got some big name acts in the grandstand this year with Tom Cochran leading the way on Saturday night. We've got all kinds of entertainment. We've got the King Tut display. We've got the Super Dogs back. We've got entertainment all through the grounds.
Despite the poor weather today, exhibition officials say they will be ready to open Tuesday. Environment Canada says the drizzly weather will clear up and there should be sun for the balance of the week. Ian Roach, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Spud nuts, pierogies, I think that's my Achilles heel when I go to the X.
Yeah.
All right, if you're planning to hit the X, here's more information you'll want to know. The exhibition starts tomorrow when gates open at 4 o'clock. Starting Wednesday and running until Sunday, the X opens at noon. The Midway is open until midnight. The cost to get into the X this year, $9 for an adult. Youths ages 11 to 15 pay $6. Children under 10 get in for free if accompanied by an adult, but have to pay $3 if alone. Now, you still have a few hours to pick up your Super Pass. For $29, you get into the X and on any ride all day. The Superpass can be found at either Safeway or Max stores. Safeway is open until 10 o'clock tonight, Max until midnight. And after today, a Superpass will cost you $39. Also, until Safeway and Max stores close tonight, it's your last chance to buy a 2-day admission ticket. For $12, you get into the X for 2 days. Now, parking is limited, but if there's space available, it'll cost you $5. Or if you have 5 or more people in the vehicle, parking is free. Now, don't forget the fireworks display every night at 10:40. And, of course, the parade kicks off Exhibition Week tomorrow morning. The parade winds through downtown Saskatoon, beginning at 10 o'clock. Perhaps take the bus.
Yeah.
When we come back. An X-Prize competitor has a few problems on its test flight.
We'll also have more from Estevan and the death of a King Kong star. Jeff, it's wet out there.
Oh, indeed it is, and it looks like it's going to continue to be wet into the overnight hours, but the good news is we've got some sunshine on the way. Now, let's take a look at our time lapse today. It's really quite interesting to watch the clouds keep rolling in, and as we see them moving in from a southerly direction, things will eventually start to turn around. Whoa! There we go. We see these clouds turning around. Now they're moving back that way, so we had ourselves an interesting day, and it was full of rain, so the sky was certainly a little different than it had been in the past. Taking a look at our almanac for today, 14 degrees, certainly below normal values for this time of year. Last year, we were twice as warm at 28 degrees, and the record temperatures for August the 9th, 36 degrees in 1940, and in 1939, 1 year earlier, a very chilly 1 overnight. Taking a look at what's going on across the nation, we've got some warm conditions, and interestingly enough, although it is cloudy, it is 30 degrees in Victoria, but sunny and 25 in Vancouver. Edmonton and Calgary, they've all been dealing with a little bit of cloud and rain. Winnipeg, quite cool, some light showers and 9 degrees. 22 in Ottawa, or rather in Toronto, 26 in Ottawa, Montreal, 24, 15 in Halifax, and St. John's, Newfoundland, 14 degrees. More weather later on. Kev, what's coming up in sports?
Well, we're going to go to Winnipeg. A new head coach with the Bombers. Familiar name, Jim Daly.
News is brought to you in part by the Saskatchewan Indian Institute of Technologies.
Set for life. $1,000 every week for 25 years. Just scratch and win at your lottery ticket center.
To celebrate Canada's best at the Olympics, we're offering Canada's best values. Right now, get 0% purchase financing for 60 months on virtually any 2004 Chrysler, Jeep, or Dodge vehicle. And right now, lease the Dodge Caravan for only $326 per month with 0 down. Celebrate Canada's best with Canada's best values.
Thank you to Daimler, Chrysler, and all Canadians for your amazing support.
Merci beaucoup.
It's not about crossing the finish line or standing on the podium.
It's about that moment when you feel you couldn't possibly go any further
Run any faster,
or last any longer.
but you do.
Every year, Saskatchewan credit unions invest over $2.5 million in sponsorship and support programs across the province.
Because every dream deserves a chance.
Now, for something completely different, I want to show you this. Post Date and Raisin Pecan Crunch cereal. Now, we've got dates, a lovely fruit, perfect for those raisins. Now, the thing you don't often think about raisins is that they're a fruit. They're plump, they're juicy, they are great. And my favorite nut of all time, pecans. Crazy for the pecans. And all those lovely flakes, just look at that. For the morning, absolutely. Or you come home late at night and you're a little bit peckish, why not?
New Post Date and Raisin Pecan Crunch cereal.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Schneider's. Taste the difference quality makes.
Back to Estevan now, and while emergency crews begin the cleanup, residents are sitting in limbo. More than 150 people are still out of their homes in Estevan tonight, and as Shannon Spring reports, That's just one of many things that has turned the city upside down.
It's frustrating and certainly not how this mother and her children wanted to spend the day. But there's little Gayleen Olson and her 2 children can do. Like dozens of others, they are at a local leisure center, temporarily homeless, victims of a train wreck.
We actually heard a loud noise, and because we live right across from the tracks, we knew that it was an odd sound, and it wasn't something that, it wasn't just the train stopping or something. So we knew it was odd, and we knew there was something wrong. So probably about 10 minutes later, my husband went out and took a look at the tracks to see what happened, and sure enough, there was a few cars derailed.
Minutes later, police ordered them to flee their home.
My husband said, okay, we got to leave, and we got to go now.
Residents weren't the only ones that were evacuated. Local area businesses were shut down, including Canada Post. At 4:30 in the morning, this hockey rink became the local post office.
We've had all of our letter carriers sort their own routes by table, and customers can come in as a letter carrier on a foot route, and our box mail is sitting over here, so any of our box customers can pick up their mail from there too as well.
Local radio station CJ 1280 was also caught in the 3-block web that's been evacuated. With emergency approval, a skeletal staff stayed behind, providing residents with any new information on the accident. Staff realized they too could be evacuated at a moment's notice.
If that happens, we are ready to move and evacuate the building and continue broadcasting from another location.
For now, Estevan is a city in limbo. Without any word of when they can go home, Gayleen Olson and her family are preparing to spend another night at a local motel. Frustrated by the inconvenience, but thankful they are safe. Shannon Spring, CTV News, Estevan.
An American team in the race to blast a private manned rocket into space has suffered a setback. The team is challenging for the $10 million U.S. X Prize. Rubicon 1 exploded after shooting less than 300 meters into the air during a test flight in Washington state. The 7-meter-long spacecraft was carrying 3 dummies, simulating the weight of astronauts. The space transport team says it spent $20,000 U.S. on the rocket and will now have to do some fast fundraising to build a new one. The Canadian team plans its qualifying flight from Kindersley in early October.
Well, it's a happy homecoming day in Quebec City. More than 120 Canadian soldiers are back home after a 6-month tour of duty in Afghanistan. Defense Minister Bill Graham was first in line to greet the returning troops. Next in line were hundreds of friends and family members. The soldiers are among 2,000 Canadians returning from Afghanistan. Bill Graham says more soldiers will soon be heading out.
There are already PRTs in the country. We would have to talk to our NATO allies to understand where we should be, where we could make the best contribution. So it's too early to say exactly what form it would take or how many troops it would take, but the engagement is there to look at how we could make a contribution.
The new Canadian contingent will provide reconnaissance and surveillance to the Kabul Multinational Brigade. Health Canada has issued a warning to pregnant mothers about the risks of taking antidepressants. A department advisory concentrates on drugs containing SSRI, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. New studies reveal some newborns develop complications such as feeding and breathing difficulties, muscle rigidity, jitters, and constant crying. In most cases, the drug was taken during the last 3 months of pregnancy. Health Canada is urging expectant mothers who take the drugs to consult their doctors. The Chrysler Pacifica has been rated the safest SUV on the road in terms of rollover risks. Only a 13% chance of rolling over in a single vehicle crash. The Nissan Murano and Honda Pilot also received positive ratings. The Ford Explorer Sport Track was the worst. It has an almost 35% chance of rolling over in a crash. Dick Pound, the former president of the Canadian Olympic Association, says Canada should increase funding to its athletes if it wants better results. He's now head of the World Doping Agency. Dick Pound says the government should boost its budget to about $50 million a year from the current $16 million. He says the money could help with training and traveling costs.
The mayor of Athens has proclaimed her city ready for the Summer Olympics, which get underway on Friday. This follows months of skepticism about the city's readiness in several areas, including that of security. But as Stephanie Sy reports, officials are confident.
For those who doubted that the stadiums would be finished, that public transportation would get off the ground, that the airport would be updated, Olympic officials have a clear message to send.
We're ready. Our people in Norfolk are ready.
Greece is ready, Athens is ready for the games to begin.
The president of the International Olympic Committee is optimistic.
It's going to leave a great legacy to Greece and to Athens for generations to come.
Even ticket sales, which were sluggish a few weeks ago, are picking up.
I bought a lot of tickets. I thought it was a very good opportunity to watch as many events as possible.
But the wild card in this Summer Olympics, the first since 9/11, will be security. The facilities and infrastructure may be in place, but Athens' true legacy will hinge on the success of its billion-dollar security apparatus.
It's not a war, but as Kennedy said, we have to be prepared for war in order to secure peace.
70,000 police and soldiers, including U.S. Special Forces, are patrolling the streets, the seas, and the skies of Athens. Stephanie Tsai, ABC News, London.
She's the actress who screamed so famously as King Kong carried her to the top of the Empire State Building in the classic 1933 movie. 96-year-old Canadian actress Fay Wray died yesterday at her New York City apartment. She appeared in about 100 movies, but is most famous for her role in King Kong. Canada's Walk of Fame plans to induct her posthumously, and we'll show you more of the movie of King Kong later in the hour.
Wow, it's interesting, 100 movies. I
Yeah.
have no idea whatsoever. Well, everybody in Weyburn's ready?
That's right. The Saskatchewan Summer Games kicked off last night, the opening ceremonies, and these are actually some future Olympians. You know, we've got 13, 14 sports there, so, you know, a number of kids have come through this and jumped 4 years later to the Olympics. So we'll see what happens in Weyburn this week.
2 weeks, right?
That's right. It's just actually, Rob, 10 days
Okay.
over Sunday. But yeah, it's a great time.
Okay, Kevin will have sports when we come back.
The Barn Playhouse continues its 14th season with the zany comedy Radio Gals. Set in the 1920s, Hazel Hunt starts the 100-watt radio station WGAL with a group of friends. Music, chat, and of course her grandfather's tonic sets toes a-tappin'. Radio Gals runs August 25th to 29th and September 1st to 5th. The yard and food booths open at 5:30 p.m. with live music, horse-drawn wagon rides, and the craft barn. The play starts at 8 o'clock. Sit back and enjoy the antics of Hazel and the Hazelnuts in Radio Gals at the Barn Playhouse, just north of Saskatoon on Highway 12.
More speed options, new lower prices. The new generation of high speed, only from SaskTel.
HP services and technology help the world's great companies face, manage, and love change. HP. Invent.
Authentic and tantalizing, elegant and delicious. Mykonos offers you an intimate setting to be treated to Greek dishes that are sure to please. An evening on the patio lets you sit down, relax, and enjoy the fabulous scenery of Saskatoon's downtown. Join us downstairs for a drink before dinner or afterwards for coffee in a relaxed atmosphere. For a little touch of authentic Greek cuisine and a warm setting to enjoy a perfect evening. Mykonos, the Greek restaurant.
He is one of the world's most successful recording artists. Canadian Idol welcomes Lionel Richie and the music of his career.
So many different personalities. I'm loving this. No one is the same. This is an experience that you'll not be able to get ever again.
Featuring a live performance from the title track of his new album, Just For You. Canadian Idol, Wednesday and Thursday at 9 on CTV.
Brought to you in part by L'Oreal Paris, because you're worth it.
Good evening, everyone. Saskatchewan Summer Games underway in Weyburn. The first 3 days will deal with half the sports, and then Thursday through Saturday, the other half. Today in baseball, Regina beat Prince Albert 11-4. Boys basketball, Saskatoon over Estevan Weyburn 92-27. And Zone 5, the Humboldt area, beat Zone 3 Swift Current 58-40. Weyburn has prepared for months for this event. Last night, they kicked off the week-long event with the opening ceremonies.
Let the games begin. Nearly 1,000 athletes and hundreds of spectators battled wet conditions to celebrate the opening of the 2004 Saskatchewan Summer Games.
We are very excited. You know, the weather hasn't really been cooperating today, but it hasn't dampened our spirits at all. We're still here to put on a first-class event, and we're working our way through it, but we are very excited for the day to finally arrive.
Athletes from all over the province will be gunning for the gold this week, and they can't wait to get the competition started.
I'm looking forward to good competition. I want to get some personal best times and then just like meeting new people and that.
The games will go on rain or shine, but most of the athletes here hope the weather will clear up so they can perform their very best in this provincial event.
I'm hoping the weather will cooperate a little bit more, warm up, the wind will calm down so it's a little bit easier to run and it'll be nicer.
Day one of the games will feature sports like women's soccer, men's baseball, and track and field. The wet weekend weather has left tough ground conditions, which could cause some delays.
Dave Ritchie is out and Jim Daly is in as head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Ritchie spent 6 years as head coach in Winnipeg, but was on borrowed time the last year. Daly, of course, a former head coach here in Saskatchewan, but he has little time now to get the football club turned around.
We as a football team have been in a regression mode for quite some time, and in some cases approaching a year. Sitting back and hoping that things will turn around is not acceptable. Hope, in fact, hope is not a method.
Just months after having his general manager duties removed from his title and constant postseason underachievement, the sky has finally fallen in on Dave Ritchie and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
I'm going to coach. I'm going to coach. Don't know where.
Well, I feel a lot of responsibility for it. There's no doubt. I'm not going to hide around that fact. I mean, it's obvious we're 2-5, and if we thought we had the best players in the world, obviously I'm not going to hide around and say we do. I think we're better than what we're showing.
Ritchie's security as head coach has been fragile since Labor Day of 2003. The Big Blue have just 5 wins in 15 games.
He did not fail us as players. We failed Coach Ritchie, and everyone in this room is here because he thought that each individual in here was capable of doing the job necessary to win games, and we failed miserably at that.
Well, I don't know this team without Coach Ritchie, so I don't know what's going to change, but I think our biggest thing is we just have to take it among ourselves to do what we have to do to play better.
To replace Ritchie, the Bombers hand the reins to assistant Jim Daly. A CFL coach since 1991, he has spent time between Calgary, Ottawa, and Saskatchewan, and his greatest achievement is winning the Western Division Championship with the Rough Riders in 1997.
This is a people game. We're a people business. So when people are hurt or are affected, like in this case Dave, it affects a lot of other people, all of us. So we have to get through that emotional part too.
Only one game completed at the Canadian Junior Women's Fast Pitch Championship in the city. Defending champion Brampton over Sherwood Park, Alberta 4-1. Bob Van Impfield has been completely shut down for the night. While Howe Park is being worked on, the Saskatoon Phantoms likely will not play a game tonight against the Calgary Rockies, probably rescheduled for tomorrow. Last night, the Phantoms opened with an easy victory over Red Deer. Actually, Red Deer led 1-0 in the third, and the Phantoms' Janelle Sick singles to center, scoring Rochelle Haight to tie the game at 1. Fourth, 3-1 Saskatoon. As Sherry Schoenberger doubles to center, Sick will score to make it 4-1. In the fifth, they're loaded for right fielder Rochelle Haight, doubles to the wall, scoring all 3 runners, giving the Phantoms a commanding 7-1 lead. Good defense by the Phantoms last night. Julie Kolomgreski makes the play in left. Phantoms beat Red Deer 8-1 last night. Canadian Olympic baseball team receiving terrible news today. Pitcher Jeff Francis will not be allowed to pitch for Canada at the Olympics. The Colorado Rockies involved in actually told Baseball Canada today that they may bring Francis up to the club before the end of the month. Francis and Justin Morneau of Minnesota were two players counted on heavily at the Olympics for Canada. John Gibbons officially took over as manager of the Toronto Blue Jays today. Carlos Tosca fired yesterday after the Jays lost their third straight game to the Yankees. This afternoon, Josh Towers took to the mound, hoping to reverse the trend. Jays actually up 2-0 in the sixth. Gabe Gross, his first Major League homer for the Jays, a line drive shot to make it 4-0. In the sixth, 5-0 Jays. Josh Towers getting A-Rod to strike out. 7 solid innings there for Josh Towers, but in the ninth, Hideki Matsui connects for a 2-run homer, 5-4 Toronto. And the Yankees had the tying run on base. Jason Frazier would get the final out as the Jays knock off the Yankees for new manager John Gibbons. A long, long season in Toronto.
Early August, you got to think it can't end early enough for the Jays or the Expos.
You're right. You
They're
got
really
that
24 backers.
Yeah, I think it's getting so tired. You know, every year you say the same thing.
Oh, this has been the worst year in years for both clubs.
Yeah. Weather-wise, Jeff, I think the farmers are probably not looking for rain. They're looking for sunshine now.
I think we're at the point in the season where the growing season has to come to an end, and then things start heading out and then ripening. And so, yeah, we hope this is the last of the rain we have for summer, and then we get more into like fall-like conditions.
All right, we'll take a peek at the forecast following the break.
Get ready to make the call and win. GM's Ring In and Win is back. From an automatic credit of $1,000 up to a possible $10,000 off. You can even win your vehicle. Plus 0% purchase financing on virtually all eligible 04s.
Yeah, it's a real opportunity. It's going to be a lot to figure out. Sounds like a great job. It is, but it's just the two of us. There's childcare and bill payments. And we have to move. I need to know if I can make this work. Well, there are some things we can do, like reduce your payment, and we can provide some funds. It'll make it easier. So, I can do this.
CIBC Customer Service. Help for what matters.
Ordinary whitening toothpaste only whiten while you brush, but Crest Night Effects stays on teeth to whiten in just 14 nights. Since you'd never spend your nights whitening like this, try this. Crest Night Effects for a visibly whiter smile. There's nothing new about wanting softer, smoother skin. What's new is how you do it. Introducing Olay In-Shower Body Lotion. Unlike your ordinary body lotion, Olay moisturizers work with the warmth and humidity of your shower. After cleansing, smooth on, rinse off, like a conditioner, for a revolutionary look and feel. This is not your grandmother's body lotion. Look in the body wash aisle for new Olay Moisture Rinse, and love the skin you're in.
The Children's Wish Foundation Home Lottery is here with a $500,000 grand prize. The grand prize winner gets to choose one of the 9 beautiful show homes in the 2004 Saskatoon and Region Home Builders Association Parade of Homes. Visit the homes at Arbor Creek, Briarwood, Confederation Park, Forest Grove, Willow Grove, and Warman. Just follow the signs. Show homes are open 7 to 9 weekdays and 2 to 5 on weekends, closed Fridays. The Children's Wish Foundation, making wishes come true one wish at a time.
Introducing an entrance-making fan of lashes. New Fantastic Lash Mascara. It takes everyday lashes, fans them, and expands them. A lash fanning brush separates one by one. New Fantastic Lash Mascara. Easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Well, in case you didn't notice, it came down in buckets in Saskatoon this afternoon. Take a look. Now, Jeff, this rain, I think we were expecting most of it on the weekend, weren't we?
We were indeed. In fact, we were expecting it to actually show up quite around Saturday afternoon. It really didn't start showing up until late Saturday evening, past midnight into that, and so it's sort of hung around longer. It's sort of just been delayed, and so this is why it's still sticking around today.
Yeah, the big winners, Yorkton, 60 millimeters, I think. Areas south of Prince Albert got 40, so Kindersley saw about 50, so Places that needed it, I guess they got it.
I think there's no question that, like Saskatchewan, after a number of years that we've gone through such bad conditions, our water table could always use the help. But as we were saying earlier, now in terms of the growing season, I think we've got enough moisture, and now it's time for the crops to finish growing and then start ripening up as we get ready for harvest.
Let the sun shine in.
Yeehaw, exactly. Well, that's exactly what we're going to try and do here. As you can see, a hint of blue right there. So things are starting to clear up, but let's not go too crazy, because we wouldn't mind some of these clouds hanging around, because they will insulate us from some very cold air out there. How cold is it? Well, last night in Alberta, in Vegreville, -1. We'll talk about the cold air in just a minute or two. Let's take a look and see what's going on in terms of Doppler. It's not really a big-time organized cell, but it is sort of swirling around. We have little chunks, not necessarily popcorn, but certainly isolated pockets of activity, and so that's one of the reasons why some areas have gotten more rain than others. Right now in Saskatoon, we've got some light rain showers, 13 degrees north-northeast, 20 clicks, 88%, and the pressure is rising. In Prince Albert, 11 degrees north-northeast, 9, 86%, and steady pressure. Cloudy skies there, and overcast conditions as well. In the Battlefords, 15 degrees right now, north 22, 72%, and the pressure is rising. Let's take a look top to bottom, side to side. Interestingly enough, this doesn't often happen this way. Stony Rapids was both the hottest and coldest place in Saskatchewan today. They were 2 in the morning, 2 earlier today, and later on today they got up to 19 degrees. Anyhow, you saw bunches of 13s and 12s. That was more important. All right, let's take a look at this. What we got here. More temperatures in those mid-teens. It gets as warm as 17 in Estevan. We're only at 13 in York and 14 in Regina, and looking at 16 in Moose Jaw. So now let's take a look and see what's going on in terms of the contiguous 48 states. Well, actually, for a change, fairly dry conditions on the East Coast. A little bit of activity coming across the Great Lakes and down towards Louisiana, but otherwise the Plain States fairly clean. A few thunderstorms popping up in the southwest and in parts of the lower Plain States. We do have sort of a backlash. We talked about this earlier on. Why has it still continued to rain? Well, the low that is now in Western Ontario still continues to move slowly, lingering, but the good news is this high is moving in, this high pressure ridge, and as it moves in, it'll clear things out, but we don't want things to clear out too fast. As I mentioned, some cold air out there. Here's our forecast in detail, brought to us by Land Rover of Saskatoon and the Saskatoon Auto Mall. So tonight in Prince Albert, we expect the rain to be sort of again, on again, off again, and it's tomorrow. Now tomorrow, the showers are expected to show up in the afternoon, maybe about 5 millimeters of precipitation. Wednesday, things start to get a little clearer. The sun starts to return. Then we're back into lots of sunshine on Thursday and Friday, and you can see temperatures getting to above normal values by the time we get to Friday. Taking a look at the Battlefords, again, tonight, overnight tonight, skies could clear out, and I keep on mentioning this. If the skies do clear out more than this, right now that 4 is still a risk of frost, but if they clear out more than they do, it could be nasty. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow, a little bit of clouds hanging around 21 degrees, then 22, 23, and warming up to 27 as we get ready for the weekend. And for Saskatoon, same sort of situation, on again, off again showers overnight tonight, maybe an afternoon shower tomorrow, outside chance. 22 on Wednesday, but close to normal values and above normal values by the time we get to Friday. I should mention, I was mentioning the cold temperatures. There is a frost warning in effect for southwestern Saskatchewan. So if you can cover things up down in the southwest, that would be a heck of an idea. And if you're, if you're worried about things here in Saskatoon, always err on the side of caution. The Skycam is brought to us by the Saskatoon Credit Union, and you can check out all the services they have to offer at www.saskatooncreditunion.com.
And for the parade tomorrow?
It looks good. It looks good. It's like, we're hoping the clouds might clear off a little early, but as I say, we kind of want the clouds to hang around overnight.
Yeah, exactly. But as you'd also indicated, though, farmers, they need some moisture, or they don't need any more moisture. They need the sunshine
I think that's what we need now. You
take a look at crop reports for today, and the crop development ranges from normal to 3 weeks behind schedule, according to Saskatchewan Agriculture. Fall cereals are reported to be about 85% in good to excellent condition, with spring cereals reporting to be about 86% in good to excellent condition. Topsoil moisture conditions on crop, hay, and pasture land improved during the past week. Now, insects, including grasshoppers, wheat midge, flea beetles, aphids, and Bertha armyworm larvae and sawflies, were the primary source of crop damage during the past week.
Probably not a lot of change in the last little while, which is good for crop condition. Crop conditions continue to be quite healthy, and a good percentage of the crops in the good to excellent category. The challenge is there's still 2/3 to 3/4 of the crop are behind normal development.
Well, the city of Prince Albert is looking its best, and for good reason.
The Communities in Bloom judges are in town. Lisa Hamill has the story.
Prince Albert is competing against Lloydminster. in categories such as tidiness and floral displays. The competition is a year-round effort for the entire city.
It focuses on community involvement, trying to get everyone pulling together and focusing on how we clean the city, how it appears to outsiders of the community, and just the general ownership of how we take care of Prince Albert.
The judges toured the city, visiting everything from personal properties to the federal penitentiary. They all agreed there's something about Prince Albert that sets it apart from other cities in the province.
The openness and the layout of the town, and how when you go through you can't resist stopping. I don't know whether that's the tourism or you want to find out more about it. That could be it too.
At the end of the competition, the city awarded the most blooms wins. Prince Albert is hoping for at least a 4 out of 5. The judges are in Lloydminster next week. The winner will be announced shortly after that. Lisa Hamill, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Well, when we come back, what we should all know about spyware.
This is the CTV News with Rob McDonald and Robert James.
The Barn Playhouse continues its 14th season with the zany comedy Radio Gals. Set in the 1920s, Hazel Hunt starts the 100-watt radio station WGAL with a group of friends. Music, chat, and of course her grandfather's tonic sets toes a-tappin'. Radio Gals runs August 25th to 29th and September 1st to 5th. The yard and food booths open at 5:30 p.m. with live music, horse-drawn wagon rides, and the craft barn. The play starts at 8 o'clock. Sit back and enjoy the antics of Hazel and the Hazelnuts in Radio Gals at the Barn Playhouse, just north of Saskatoon on Highway 12.
The sweet taste of Honey Nut Cheerios comes from honey and nuts and the goodness of Cheerios.
Right now with Cheerios, you get a $10 coupon to cash exclusively at participating root stores. Look for it on specially marked boxes of Cheerios.
Your assignment is Saturn's Operation Clear Out. Your mission, to hurry in while most 2004 models are priced to clear, like the sporty and stylish Ion sedan for only $11,995. But hurry, this offer will self-destruct sooner than you think.
We'll be experiencing some turbulence. Please secure your belongings. Introducing new Glad Press and Seal Wrap. Just pull, place, and press. New Press and Seal doesn't just cover, it gives you a spill-proof seal. It's strong and stackable, protects in a microwave, seals to any clean, dry surface, and makes instant bags to help keep food fresh. It's a whole new way to store food. New Glad Press and Seal Wrap. Depend on it.
Take a look. Like what you see? Think big. Think bold. Go beyond borders. They print, copy, and design what you imagine. With quality you can trust. Globe Printers.
Closed captioning for this program is sponsored in part by CAA Travel. Scratch to win great discounts and instant prizes when you book your winter sun vacation at CAA.
If your computer has slowed down or if it crashes a lot, you may be the victim of the latest online invader, spyware. Microsoft says spyware is the cause of more than a third of all PC crashes these days. We get the details from Norman Federley.
It's the latest gremlin, repair shops fixing computers overrun by spyware.
I would say that's probably the #1 issue right now, spyware.
Consumer Reports says just about anyone who goes online has spyware on his computer. This one is overwhelmed by it.
Spyware is parasite software that sneaks onto your computer when you click on a pop-up ad or download free software. It can track where you go online and even hijack your browser.
A computer loaded with spyware can be inundated with pop-up ads. They just keep coming. And if you try to do a search, the computer slows to a crawl or freezes up.
Spyware is a cheap way for online advertisers to target their ads or have people click onto their websites.
There is protection from this plenty of pop-ups. AdAware's free program is a good choice. Whenever you run it, AdAware scans your computer and eliminates any spyware it finds. But some people need even more protection.
If you do a lot of downloading, you should run a program that continuously scans for spyware and prevents it from ever getting on your computer.
The $27 US AdAware does provide continuous scanning, so does Pest Patrol, which costs $40 US. Experts say don't put off installing a spyware program, otherwise your computer could wind up in the shop like so many others. And it also seems most Canadians are leery about online dating. A new survey suggests that 80% of those asked say they want nothing to do with cyber dates or even chat rooms because they don't know whom they're dealing with. Majority of people who feel that way are women.
Well, some surprising news on the construction front may signal an end to low mortgage rates, and the company that brought Michael Moore's latest film to the silver screen is seeing plenty of green as a result. Michael Hainsworth has more now from Report on Business Television.
Good evening. Mortgage rates fell again today after BMO trimmed 0.25% off its 4-year mortgage, but the trend may soon end, thanks in part to this number. The value of building permits in June hit a record high of $5.3 billion. If other construction data is as strong, the Bank of Canada is expected to hike interest rates. The Michael Moore film Fahrenheit 9/11 helped its distributor bring in the most cash in its history in Q1. Lionsgate Entertainment revenue rose to $188.7 million, and the film was out for only 6 days in the quarter. The company says it expects revenue of $700 million for the entire year as a result. Despite the record sales, the company, which started trading on the NYSE today, lost $7.3 million in the quarter. Supply problems in Iraq spiked oil to a new record of $44.84 a barrel. That helped the TSX to a 7-point gain. American investors stood on the sidelines today ahead of tomorrow's interest rate decision. The Dow was down slightly, the rest barely budged. Gold rose 90 cents to $4.03 an ounce. The loonie slipped 1/3 of a cent. And here are the Canadian dollar exchange rates for the euro, the pound, and the yen. That's the latest from the Report on Business Television newsroom. I'm Michael Hainsworth.
Coming up next, is it possible no more drilling at the dentist?
And then the straight goods on your gas mileage, is it as high as you think?
In order to solve crime, the police often rely on the assistance of the community. This case is no exception, and Crime Stoppers needs your help to identify a male responsible for a theft from a Saskatoon business. This theft occurred on June 13, 2004 at London Drugs, located in the mall at Lawson Heights. At approximately 6 p.m., a male suspect was in the fragrance area of London Drugs looking at cologne. He subsequently stole some Hugo Boss and Calvin Klein colognes worth about $200 by placing them in the front pocket of his bunny hug. The suspect left London Drugs without making any attempt to pay for the merchandise and was followed into the parking lot by loss prevention personnel from the store. Outside, the loss prevention officer told the suspect he was under arrest, but the suspect fled in a vehicle. Police want to determine the identity of this suspect, described as an Asian male in his 20s who was wearing a gray bunny hug and jeans at the time of the theft. Crime Stoppers is a proven program that gets results. When you call Crime Stoppers, you don't have to give us your name and you won't have to appear in court. Every month, cash awards are paid on successful tips. If you have information about this crime or any unsolved crime in Saskatoon, call Crime Stoppers at 931-8477. That's 931-TIPS. Stopping crime makes Saskatoon a safer community. Call Crime Stoppers today.
Fruits and vegetables are notorious exhibitionists. Especially when they're ripe. The joy of produce. Experience it at Safeway.
What's that? It's a Rolo chocolate cone.
A Rolo chocolate cone?
Yeah, a Rolo chocolate cone.
So the cone is dipped in chocolate?
No, the cone is made of chocolate.
A cone made of chocolate?
Exactly.
Let me see. So it's ice cream.
Rolo ice cream.
Rolo ice cream. Caramel. And a chocolate cone.
Milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate cone.
Exactly.
Well, I'll never doubt you again. You know she just took your cone.
The Rolo chocolate cone, new from Nestle.
A wish is a precious thing. It gives a child hope, strength, and joy, especially when the child making the wish is facing a high-risk, life-threatening illness. The Children's Wish Foundation has granted 10,000 very special wishes to children facing life-threatening illnesses. Support the Children's Wish Foundation Home Lottery and help make a sick child's wish come true. Watch your mailbox for this lottery brochure. Call 1-800-661-WISH or 384-WISH and make some very special wishes come true.
There's lots to do in Saskatoon this summer. Ride at the Kisman Park, swim at the outdoor pools, play at your neighborhood parks and pools, or just do it and see the animals at the Saskatoon Zoo and Forestry Farm Park. Wow, so much to do. Gotta go.
Ride, swim, play, just do it. Stay in tune this summer with the City of Saskatoon Leisure Services. There's lots to do.
Just because you don't have chest pains doesn't mean you're not having a heart attack. Tonight, our medical specialist, Avis Favreau, has a startling report on this very subject. That's later on CTV News.
If you hate the dentist chair, we have some good news for you.
Yeah, it's one of the newest techniques in Canada to treat cavities. Here's CTV's Monica Mattis.
This is a sound most people could live without, including Lee Burkle. He's had 3 cavities filled this way and wanted something easier.
When they were drilling my teeth, you know, it's an uncomfortable feeling.
Luckily, Lee's dentist was one of the first in Canada to use a new technique called Heal Ozone.
The Heal Ozone process is a method whereby we can disinfect the teeth very quickly, very easily, and very predictably, so that we can be sure that there's not going to be any redecay in the future.
A silicone cap is placed over the tooth for about 40 seconds, which is then flooded with ozone to kill decay. Unlike traditional fillings, the process preserves all of the tooth structure. The dentist then applies a fluid high in minerals to restore balance to the tooth. And for several weeks after the procedure, patients need to use a high mineral toothpaste and mouthwash. But it may not work for larger cavities, and it's not covered by all insurance plans, so patients need to check first. The cost to fill one cavity is around $100. Lee says it was all worthwhile.
It's fast, and it's easy, and there's no pain.
Yes, but is it available in Saskatoon?
Don't know.
With oil prices above $44 a barrel, many motorists are fuming when they fill up the tank.
Now, new research shows your vehicle may not be getting the gas mileage you thought it was. Here's CTV consumer reporter Pat Foran.
It's maddening enough how much it costs for a fill-up, but what if your car wasn't getting the gas mileage you thought it was? Mileage claims are based on laboratory tests. Cars are run on a dynamometer. It's like driving on a flat road with no wind and no traffic in perfect conditions.
What the manufacturers do is they optimize the cars and their test results to really get the best figures that they can.
Consumer Reports created its own course to simulate city driving and found cars often get worse gas mileage than what manufacturers say. On this 2004 Chevy Malibu, the sticker says 24 miles per gallon.
We only achieved 16 on our city cycle. That's a third less fuel economy.
The Dodge Stratus lists 22 miles per gallon, but in tests got just 14. And the Nissan Armada, which should get 13 miles per gallon for city driving, got a mere 9 in the test. In Canada, we measure mileage in liters per 100 kilometers, but Environment Canada says our lab tests are similar.
Our testing in the laboratory will not give you exactly the same fuel consumption that you can expect to get out on the road.
The Automobile Protection Association says consumers should realize gas mileage estimates are not always accurate.
Some manufacturers, I would say, either appear to cheat or have cars that just studied for the test, and therefore in the real world actually use a lot more fuel.
The test results didn't surprise many drivers.
The manufacturer says that we're going to get a certain amount of kilometers per liter. When we put the gas inside the vehicle, we're not getting that.
I've never had cars that have gotten the posted mileage.
The APA says testing should change so that gas mileage figures reflect what drivers can expect in the real world and not in a lab. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Around the Globe, brought to you by Globe Printers.
Well, he's an actor known for his really raspy voice and his hot-headed temper. Today, at the young age of 70, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. A lot of his friends were there, along with a lot of fanfare as well. Well, that's Disney Chief Executive Michael Eisner congratulating Donald, and of course Mickey and Minnie are there, and the Mayor of Hollywood, Johnny Grant. Donald Duck began acting in films in 1934. The star was unveiled appropriately enough in front of the Disney store on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mickey looked a little jealous there, didn't he? Who's getting all the attention here?
Exactly. Mickey, you're never as funny as Donald. And interesting, they were playing Hooray for Hollywood, and very appropriate because one of the lines in that song is, go out and try your luck, you could be Donald Duck.
All right.
Oh, hooray for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Time for Wake Up Weather?
Okay.
Okay, why not? What the heck? 6 degrees overnight tonight. Let's hope it stays at 6 and doesn't get any cooler. 10, 13 on our way to a very balmy 19.
Junior women's fast pitch. Well, Regina has just finished. They won their game 6-0. Bob Van Imp shut down, but they're going to try to get in a game or two at Howell Park tonight.
Okay. Maybe frost in the southwest?
Southwest frost warning in effect right now, you bet.
Okay. Well, it was a movie classic, King Kong, starring Canadian-born actress Fay Wray. Fay Wray won everlasting fame as a result of King Kong. She was 96 when she died yesterday. We'll leave you tonight with King Kong. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Kong is climbing the Empire State Building. He is still carrying Ann Darrow. That is all.
That licks us. There's one thing we haven't thought of.
What?
Airplanes. If he should put Ann down, and they can fly close enough to pick him off without hitting her.
You're right. Planes.
Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast. Beauty killed